I talked about this a little bit of mindset, guys. I know there's a crap load of training questions, diet, nutrition, supplementation, all that good stuff. All very, very important, guys. I want to dive into all that stuff, so thank you for giving me the time to kind of talk about what my real passion is real fast. Because I think, like I said, when I was wrestling, and I was so capable, I had it all done, did all the studying, the eating, and everything else, but the mind was off. Therefore, I would have lost my dad to come out and give me that little pep talk. So I think the mindset, that's your bedrock, man. That's your foundation. That's what you build everything on. If you build it on something else, you know, I don't know what's always there for you. You know, the world can rob you of everything. I've never known the world to get inside your head and rob you of that. You gotta rob yourself of that. So let's open up. I think we got some other mics, man. And we're gonna just ask some questions and stuff, and you know, if that's what you guys want to do, or you know, keep talking. Yeah, we got a mic, or this, yeah.
What up? G'day. My name's Stuart. Nice to know you. I know you talked about before about some of the life-changing moments that people have brought upon you, and we know a lot about your success, but what are some of your biggest failures that you really learned from and learned to push hard from?
Yeah, man. Thank you. That's a great question. Big failures in life. Anyone who's been on my site knows I talk in a very emotional way, and I'm the first one to tell you about my failures. Because I failed more than I've ever succeeded in life, and probably always will. And I gotta be honest with you, the word failure is a negative term. I don't see it that way. My failures in my history, my past, I wish I could put pictures of them up. I wish magazines would take covers of those things, those moments, because that's what I'm so proud of. Because without those failures, none of this exists. Yeah, I've made mistakes in life. People are like, hey man, you wish you could go back in time and kind of take them out, you know, redo it? Like, no, because if it wasn't for those failures, or those things that I was embarrassed about, then that's the tapestry of who I am. It's part of me. If I pull that out, what good comes with that? There's so much strength that comes from that. You know, like the guy Thomas Edison with the lights, 1,093 times, you know, it failed before it lit. Over 1,000 times. I mean, I feel like I'm strong-minded. I don't know if I do it more than 10. I'd be like, all right, moving on, man. I don't know if this is going to relate. Over 1,000 times. There's so many amazing examples of our heroes and icons and people that have really molded these phones you guys are filming on. There's so many examples of that failed, but what didn't fail was the perseverance of the individual. That's what brought it to life, and it changed society. Status quo is failure. Status quo exists only because there's billions of tears dropped on it to make an impact. That's the world's life. How funny that one person with belief can override millions with just intent, and one person can do something to change that framework of society. One person. There's millions of examples of it. My biggest failures in life. You're like, man, you're fucking hiding the question, man. Get back to it. Give it to us. You know, I don't have any. Next question. No, I'm just kidding. My failures, you know, God, the thing is, all right, hear me out on this, okay? And this is not cocky or anything else. When I say I don't have any, I failed many times, but they didn't end in failure. See, when I failed something, I saw it as a positive report card of where my weaknesses was. So, yeah, if I stopped there, then yeah, that would have been failure. But I got knocked on my ass, I got back up, I trained the weak points, and then I went back after that thing that that beat me. And maybe I did it 3 or 4 times, but eventually I won. And then I said, check, moving on. So when I look back on that, even though I failed, it ended up being such a high point in my life, because I learned so much by the rhythm of, you know, even though I failed, I tried. I continued to try and fail, ensuring that I never failed to try. And eventually I won. And well, at the end of it, that challenge, I think, because it improved so many weaknesses that I was unaware of. So I moved forward in a way that was more equipped for the next challenge, which would be harder, steeper, and everything else. So failure isn't a problem, guys. We all fail in life. And in life, you get to try again and continue to try and fail. So failure is temporary, it really is. As long as you keep trying. Each time they'll start improving you, right? Now if you give up, that's kind of permanent. You know? And there's no distance you can run far enough to ever find that again. But failure, yeah, I've been sporting events. You know, I finished the season #1 and stayed number 1 in the country, but you know, that failure that came before, you know, many matches, you know, you learn from them, you know, maybe do it again, maybe I fail in that. Sporting events are all about failure. They're all about growth. Schoolwork, I almost failed out of West Point. I was failing. I almost got thrown out of West Point. It was just too much on my shoulders. You want to hear how bad it got at West Point? So much pressure, man. I was on a skydiving team. I jumped out of the plane. There's a thing called a Cypress. It's your reserve. So if you fall so fast and you bleed through a certain ceiling, it'll fire your reserve. Meaning, like, if you jump out, you hit your head on the wing, you're unconscious. You know, your dead body falling to the earth or unstable body, it'll pull your reserve. So you won't die. You'll probably come in hard, though. Well, I wanted to see if it worked. And I didn't care if it didn't. That's how low I got. The pressure got so bad there was no more light. I jumped out, put my hands in the air. I looked at my altimeter, which had fire around 1,800 feet. You know, we're about 10,000 feet. I'm just coming in pretty fast. You know, 3,000, 2,000, 1,000. Just blood right through it. No cycles. You would think I got scared, right? And pulled. I went, it's all good. Just closed my eyes. Thought that was it. Coaches came running. Like, what happened? What happened? You okay? You okay? 'Cause I came in hard too. I injured my body, you know, but I was, you know, alive. It's like, what happened, man? What happened? Any malfunction? I didn't have the heart to say I did it. I didn't want to tell him that. Because what just happened there just woke me the fuck up. It's kind of like getting that letter, Cody, while I was studying, and I couldn't, like, I'm tired, it's unfair, I have too much to do, and I see this letter and the impact, and he passed away before he was a teenager. I go, no, I got more to do now. So that failure, and how dark was that I landed, oh man, the air smelled different, like I had a second chance. You know, I'm not saying you guys go through a near-death experience or a suicidal mission and hopefully make it out and find the strength, but that's how bad it got for me. Yeah, I've lost some matches, I've failed some classes, whatever else, but that's the only time I think I failed life. And I guess if there was a purpose for me that kept me around, I shouldn't really be here, I guess. You know, depression, man, it's a really, you know, it's a negative term, man. It's dark. Negative cancer, I don't see it that way. I see it as a tool of self-discovery. I see it as a positive thing. If you're strong enough to face it. Depression is without light. It can get that way, and it did for me. But what depression really is, if you face it, it just says you're going down a path that really isn't incongruent with who you are. And don't we get that a lot? We're working for the man instead of working for the real man, being yourself. Going to some job, doing this over and over again. We don't really like it. It's just killing our energy and everything else. Maybe we marry the wrong girl or something. You know, you're doing something in your life that isn't running freely with who you really are. It doesn't mean what you're doing is wrong. It doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. You're probably just off a little bit. You know, and if you're strong to face that depression and learn from it as that tool, it's yelling back at you. It's like saying, dude, you know, you're not supposed to be in the stock market, man. You're supposed to be a lawyer. You've always loved that. Your parents want you to be there. Dude, get over here and do this. Are we strong enough to face that? is popularity too much for us, that we want to adhere to other people's likeness because, you know, our own likeness isn't strong enough to override the popular vote of what we should do. Is it our life or our parents' life or someone else's life? You know, all these different things, you know, if you really look at it, it's a tool of self-discovery. And the depression that I had when I went back to the barracks that night from the skydiving thing, and still alive, all those problems I had, they didn't seem like problems. They seemed like opportunities to learn something from. I was blessed to actually have them. The night before, I was drowning from them. What's that about? Perception of the mind, how you see it. Everything is how you see it, guys. There is no, like, you know, somebody in here is like, man, I'm liking your speech. Somebody in here is like, Jesus Christ, why did I come? You know, this is boring as shit. You know, it's just different perceptions. Nothing's right or wrong. You know, failure is my friend, you know. I enjoy it when it happens. I learn something from it. I mean, who learns anything from success, in all honesty? Who really learns from it? I don't think anyone does. You know, everyone's cheering your name, everything else, you know. You learn from the failure, and then you get back up and you do it again, and then when you get successful, man, that's sweet. But I don't know too many people that win them the first time. And if they do, they're playing like JV, you know. If they win that title, then they go into varsity, then they go on some other level, then their natural true talent, which they really aren't training anything, is we're given a God-given ability. We'll be matched with someone with the same God-given ability, and we'll find out who the real champion is, because that guy is the one that takes a genetic gift or a potential or something they believe in, and then backloads it with passion and love, and they want to do it. That person goes forward. That person sacrifices, gets up in the morning, trains when no one's watching. Now we find out if they're still going to be successful. Which again comes down to that challenge. You guys continue to challenge yourself. And if you don't keep challenging yourself, like success is very dangerous, man. And I'll finish this real fast and ask another question because I get long-winded. Success is very dangerous. I run from success. In my career, I was extremely successful in wrestling. And I went to skydiving. I was very successful in skydiving. Won national championship in skydiving, even though I tried to kill myself skydiving. Went to West Point. You know, I was failing West Point. Ended up graduating, you know, with like a 3.3, which is a good grade average. Was #1 in my class, like in the physical state there too. And as a military state, went to the Army Rangers. You know, I was an Army captain in charge of 184 guys. Well before my peer group, was kicking ass and doing all these things. And then I took that West Point graduate, I was earmarked to move high, and I said, enough of that, let's go into this thing called fitness modeling. You know, and everybody's like, what happened wrong, man? How's West Point Army Ranger fucking stud and everything else turn into a male model? I go, I don't fucking know, I guess lucky. They go, what happened, man? What went wrong with that? I see them very similar, but what I'm trying to say is that once I got successful in something, I moved and jumped into something else. And then I built, you know, on the totem pole, and I worked my way back up in that one. And then I moved to another one. And why is that? Because success is a double-edged sword. Who you are when you're trying to acquire the success usually becomes a little different than once you achieve the success. Meaning, in the beginning, you don't have the success. So what you're doing is you're starting to build value. And you give credit and value to the success. You define that it's success. Then you get successful. You get comfortable. You know, prior to getting the success, they say, hey, who are you? Well, I'm gonna be this. You say those kind of terms. You believe I'm gonna be this. Once you get the success, then all of a sudden the worst thing happens, the success starts to define you. People are like, hey, there goes the guy that was on the cover. You know, there goes the guy that did this. Well, did's past tense. What are you doing now with it? I got scared of that. That's a comfort zone, which is a very scary zone because it never challenges your true potential of who you can be. So at that point, I would jump out, find another challenge, something that scared me. People are like, how do you go from Army Ranger, West Point, all that stuff, captain into male modeling or something? Because it challenged me. You know, I already had the respect of the soldiers. I was kicking ass, and it became easy, almost repetitive. I could just turn on autopilot with that. I knew if I continued to do that, I could never grow. You only grow from challenge. You take two people with the same genetic potential, same, you know, the twins. One person stays in a small town, whatever world, right? The other person travels abroad. Now that person traveling is going to run into some towns where he's the king shit. He's the baddest of them all. He's going to other towns where this person is like this bottom of the totem pole getting beat up every day. At the end of his world tour, he's going to come back to his brother. Both of them had the potential to be here. But the one brother who stayed in town, the highest challenging part of that town was only here. Therefore, that brother is only right here. His potential's up to here. But because the challenge was only here, he only could be challenged so much and then he beat it, so he was right here. There's nothing more challenging him to keep going up. So he's here when his brother that traveled the world comes back, oh, he's closer to his true potential. Because of challenges. I think anybody that's going after things in life and really living life, it's not to live in life in high school, then get your degree in college, and you get a career, you become CEO, and then you start to have kids and you know whatever else. You know, there's ages in everyone's life where it's time to grow into something. Where one door closes, another one enters. You know, I'm not going to be able to do this forever. You know, that day will end. You know, there's a lot of younger guys that are coming up that a lot better than me are going to take over my role. Oh, as this ends, what goes into the next challenge? Films, movies. What's that about? Well, because I go into an audition, I kill it, I do the best I can, I know I'm the best, I go back to the network, there's only 3 people that can get the job, I go in there, and I mean, everyone's applauding, I think that's, you know, it's great, everything else, I call my manager, hey, I must have got the part, right? No, man, they went with somebody else. I'm like, oh, you're killing me, man, how's that possible? Well, the casting director told me that the producer who watched you felt a strong correlation and memory of her ex-husband by looking at you. And the ex-husband used to beat her, and she didn't want to be reminded of that for 3 months. So she decided to go with somebody else. Now, that's bullshit. Are they allowed to do that? Yeah, they're allowed to do it because it's subjective. First place isn't all, I mean, the best one doesn't always win first, right? You have to deal with that. Now, does that define you? Is that who you are now? I go to the castings where they spit in my face. Literally. I go to castings where they cheer, support you, win some, lose some. My dad always says, just keep on throwing shit against the wall, eventually something sticks. I go into castings, got a campaign, a couple $100,000 campaign for a jeans company. Only then for the casting director to bring me back in and say, hey man, congratulations, you got the part. I'm like, badass. He goes, now what are you going to do for me? I go, well, I'm going to show up, kill it, you know, make sure everyone knows, you know, the company knows that you picked the right person. That's what I'm going to do. Make sure we get some good pictures and sell some products, sell some jeans. He goes, nah, what are you going to do for me? I go, that's all I can do. Well, what are you asking for? I don't understand. You know, he wants me to like have sexual favors with this dude. I go, I can't do that, man. Why can't I do that? Because you're robbing me of something I can never sell, my character. I can't do that. So fuck you and your money. You're lucky I don't even, you want me to suck your dick? You're lucky I don't rip your dick off right now, man, and put up your ass and fuck yourself. I didn't say that to him, obviously, but he said, you can leave. So I did, I walked. And I was in a tough spot then. I could have used that money. You know? Some things you can only cash once. Some checks only cash once. Other checks cash a lot. Over and over and over again. What's that one? That's networking, building relationships, being someone principled, standing for something, you know, building a reputation of reliability. You know, when they call you, you show up professionally, you show up on time, you show up in shape, you know, you're humble. You know, those checks you keep on cashing. And there's a difference between wealth and rich. You know, people that are rich have all the means, right? But maybe no real value. Someone like that keeps cashing those checks has integrity and honor and discipline, those kind of things. You know, they're wealthy. How do you know they're wealthy? Because they have to rent out coliseums for them when they die, because that many people want to come and pay homage to them. It impacted that many people, and that's the guy who lived the life right there. You know, love to hear his story. And you got this rich billionaire who, you know, he can't get someone to come over and watch the Golden Girls with him, you know? He dies, no one even knows. They find his body 5 days later, it stinks. The neighbor says there's some smell next door, I don't know. Anyway, let's get another question, how about that? But, you know, I mean, failure is, you know, it's only failure if you allow it to stay that way. It's temporary in its own right. You know, you can always go back and try it again. And in that failure, when you do fail, you get to learn who you are. You get to learn what your shortcomings are. Maybe you don't want to fix it, you know? And then you quit. And you move on to something else. But when you do quit, I promise you this, part of your soul, your being, whatever else, will be left there in that point in time forever. And you will move forward with only 80% true potential for who you can be. Because you just got robbed some, which is fine. You can't do everything. But the thing is, you knew you could do it. That's why you started in the endeavor. Now, some people want to be a football player. They give it all they got. They give it all they got. You know, it doesn't matter if you don't become professional or something. It just means that when you do stop, what terms do you stop on? You know, try and fail, never failing to try. Maybe you missed the window, the time's run up or something. That's cool. You leave with 100% intact of who you are. That's cool. I didn't get that jeans campaign because I wouldn't get on my knees. That's okay. I left with something more valuable, 100% content of who I was moving forward. So failure's a friend, man. As long as you continue to face it, it'll never be given up. Another question we got. How are we on time, though? Are we on time, too? We got, you know, when we come back, guys, if you want, we'll just do a whole session of this Q&As if you guys want these questions and stuff. It's your call, your show, so. But we'll take a little breather here. And okay, go ahead.
That puts the pressure on me now.
Yeah, this is it. Everybody look at her. Stand on up so we can all see her. No, this is what we're talking about, right? Stand up, you know? There she is, there she is. Now that pressure that's on her right now, you feel a little anxiety, right? Butterflies, maybe not. That's life, guys. You don't feel that way on the couch. You only feel that way when you stand up to face something, you know? Maybe she doesn't want to answer a question. Maybe she does. I don't know, but she stood up and she doesn't give a shit what you think. Why should she? You don't pay her bills. She doesn't give you any value. Anyway, maybe she likes you. I don't know. She's like, that's my son. What are you talking about? All right, I'm sorry.
I love your stuff. I really do.
Thank you.
And your journey. It really resonates very much with me. When you were talking about that boy,
Yeah.
And what he was doing, he was actually healing himself and using his body in a different way.
Sure.
And what you're doing when you're training is something similar. You're outside of yourself. You're using your whole being, which is not just body. It's body, mind, and spirit. And I guess it's something similar to what, if you think about it, people think energetic stuff is a bit fluffy, but when you look at, that's what Bruce Lee was doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're doing, because when I see people who are really intensely training at our gym, The Rock came and trained at our gym, and when I watched him, you could sense this focus, and I believe it's like a active meditation. And so what you're doing is you're actually using more than just your body and your muscles and your tissue. You're actually using a body, and you're training actually in a different way. So you will do slower things, contract the muscles, and get a better result. And then afterwards, if you do some sort of, I don't know if it's meditation or whatever you do to get to that place, it might be writing. And because you go inwards and look inside yourself and face the fears and release them, because you don't need to carry that shit around. It's not even yours. It's like someone else's. And it's like we have this bucket. I'm sorry, I'm talking and I should be asking the question.
Oh, I love listening to it. It's great.
But I guess what I'm saying is I recognize in you that that's what you're doing. You're using more of your being when you're training, and then you're conveying it and sharing that with everybody else to bring them to that place. Because we get stuck in just bodies, and we are so much more than that. You know, supplementation is great, and you know, comparing yourself to someone else, and fear. I understand fear because it's nonsense. I mean, danger is real, but fear is like
It's multiplied.
it's just nonsense, and when you let it go.
Yeah.
And also, I think, so I'd like to talk to you a little bit about and ask you about that. What do you do when you're training? Are you just in your body, or you really? Do you understand what I'm saying
Yeah,
about
I got
that?
what you're saying.
Yeah, because it's body, mind, and soul. People But you're so much more potent when you do, and when you look at what Bruce Lee was doing,
Yeah.
he totally was doing it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, you guys are all understand what the question is and stuff? It's about like, even though you're doing physical activity, if we're going to war, right? And in war we have soldiers on the ground, we also have artillery that can fire, and we have air support. Why would we ever just use the soldiers? You know? Why would we just use one asset when we can compound it with the artillery and the air support, prep the objective, you know, increasing our chances of success? You know, you can't lift your way through your life. You know, it's got to be more of a mental game. When she brings up Bruce Lee, and everyone knows who Bruce Lee is, Bruce Lee says, hey, if you want the title, you want this title, don't look at the title, there's nothing there to be found. If you really want to achieve the title, look at the character of the person that achieved that title. And looking at the character of that person, you're going to see that they failed more times than they've ever succeeded, but they learned from it and kept going. The perseverance is what got them there. That's the one who wins the race. For me, her question is, when I'm lifting, you know, do I take it, is it just a physical thing, or is it more, is it a four-dimensional, mind, body, spirit, is it all this kind of stuff? It's therapeutic. Of course it is. You think about your problems and everything else. And don't think you're testing yourself every single time. The confidence we have is perishable. Use it or lose it kind of mentality. It has to be grown, has to be tested. Don't think when you sit down there and you're going for 8 and you're hitting 7, you've already had a good workout. Do you stop right there or do you keep going? Don't think you challenge yourself right there. I always say, I never say goodbye to the set until the pain says hello. That's a good set. That's gotten me to where I am currently, and I push past that. Therefore, it creates a demand for my body to grow more. But what just grows there isn't just the mindset. I mean, it isn't just the body, because we can't grow in the gym without failure, right? Let's say we can do 10 reps of this, but all we do is 6 every single time. Who gets stronger there? Nobody. You got to go to 10 and then get your partner to assist you for 11 and 12 and 13. Then your body has this, like, it just got its ass kicked. It doesn't like that. So it grows stronger, repairs more, so it doesn't have to endure that pain next time. But also this what happens by going to the state of failure and where the pain is so low, and then you endure it, and you keep on pushing. Not only do you grow the body, you grow the indomitable will, the spirit of the individual. Because failure is your friend. You already imagine yourself mentally that I'm going to do 12 reps. If you believe it's strong enough, your body physically finds a way to make it happen. You're already the champion. Muhammad Ali, another person, he went around before he ever won anything and said, I'm the baddest in the world. I'm better than everybody. I'm number one. People are like, no, you haven't. You never won it. He believed it that hard. And he believed that strong. So therefore, you must believe it that way. Otherwise, you'll never cross that finish line and become that person without that belief. You know, Michael Jordan says, you know, he would shoot thousands and thousands of free throws. You guys know Michael Jordan, right? Just making sure. You know, he said, I failed and failed and failed and failed. And that's why I succeeded. That's pretty cool. What's that all about? Because then when it mattered, 1,000 buckets every single day, when it really mattered, muscle memory. Meaning the pressure, the fans, the situation at the time had no impact on it. It was this muscle brain. He just focused it all out. Clears the mechanism. Winner. He doesn't take all that in. Like me when I was wrestling. I'm like, Dad, I'm really nervous. You can't be nervous. This is the time we've done all that training. It overrides it. You take your mind out of it. That makes sense. I mean, I don't see how you can do anything independently of itself. Meaning, like, you can't lift without, I mean, just in lifting alone, you're lifting because you want to get somewhere, right? You're going to the gym because it's the means to an end, meaning the gym's not the end itself, it's the means to the end. A lot of these guys in the fitness industry, the industry I hate, by the way, because there's no real talent in the industry. There really is no real talent. And I hate to say that, I'm calling out the own profession I'm part of. No real talent, meaning most people go to the gym to train to play football, right? Or they train to run a marathon. The gym is a means to some ends. But in this world, the gym is the ends. And they're like, yeah, look at my muscles, man. That's right, That's, there's no talent there. That's just hard work. Anyone can do that. There's no talent. And when there's no talent, what ensues is a bunch of shit talking, dramatization, and bullshit. Dick measuring, more or less. But because you believe that the gym is a means to an end, so you're going there, training because you believe you can achieve this. This helps to accelerate the opportunity of success. Like when I was a kid, I trained hard here to be successful in the fields of baseball, whatever else. Everyone going to the gym is going there to build their body because mentally they already believe they can do it. You can't. Nothing's one-dimensional. I don't know. Am I hitting what you're asking? You guys know why I started going to the gym? I'll be honest with you. I was wrestling, and I would always suck weight, When I say suck weight, I'd be like 160. I would suck all the way down to like 145. Why? Because I had a huge confidence problem myself. I didn't think I was any good. I was ranked #1 in the state. The papers were talking about me all the time, saying all this, and I didn't believe who they were writing about. I go, oh my God, one day they're going to realize I'm not that good. How scary is that? I go, man, I don't even want to show up because all I can do is lose. They think I'm #1. I know I'm not. Maybe I can just stop wrestling right now. I wish I got in a car accident. I can't keep wrestling because then I will remain #1 in their minds. They never had the opportunity to go for it because I got injured. That's how I was thinking. So I would suck all this weight down so I'd be the bigger guy in the weight class. I go to the gym and lift, so if my technique wasn't good, I could muscle my way out of trouble. I did that year after year after year with success, but holding on to this huge fear that I wasn't the person everyone thought I was. Then what happened is my junior year, I was losing so much weight that my bones were so weak. And I was losing like 10, 15 pounds every 3 days to weigh in. And then I go into my match like 3 hours later, and I'd be like 10 pounds heavier than a guy because I start drinking water, my body's like, never letting it go, just keep it all in. So what happened was I did something called a lateral drop. So when you're in an over-under position, you push on your enemy or your opponent, they push back and take that motion, and you basically lift them off the ground, and then once off the ground, then you throw them, and then you drop. So what we did was we dropped here, boom, right? So we come down, keep that pretty hard. The impact went through me, through him, into the ground, came back up through him, through me, and blew my shoulder blade to pieces. It was like, I went to the trainer, and it's like an injury no one's ever seen before. That's how weak I was in the head, to allow my body to get that weak in my bones, because I didn't think I was any good. I had to be bigger than the guy. I had this big void, in my confidence. So I could lift. And most of you guys, whether you want to admit it or not, are in the gym for the same reason right now. Lifting so you look impressive to somebody because you don't have the confidence to really address them without it. You need this shell that scares the person first into listening to you instead of them listening to you for what you're saying. That's who I was. Some of you guys are that way too. How did I break that? I was forced to. Because when I broke my shoulder blade that next year, I was around 175, 177. The trainer would not let me cut weight. Forced me, instead of going to 171, which is where I wanted to wrestle, forced me to go up a weight to 189. I go, fuck that, man. This is a big year, it's my senior year. I'm 176, 77. You're going to tell me I have to go up 12 pounds? I've never done, I always come down 15, 20 pounds. I got to go up now? And by the way, those 189 pounders are coming down from like 220. I mean, like fucking men. I'm just like this kid. Now I gotta face a big fear, don't I? Huge fear. So I'd be sitting eating burgers for weigh-in. I still couldn't come close to it. I think at the end of the season I was still like 185. But what happened was I was strong. Meaning I was lifting and doing everything else. I was healthy, I had energy, I wasn't depleted. And I was forced to rely on technique, not strength, not muscles, not speed, right? All speed, not sheer strength. Forced to face my fears. So I would go up there, these big guys that wanted to like lock up, right? And try to throw and stuff. I just switched the script. I went low single, I was all speed. I didn't have a point scored on me that year until the finals of nationals. I blew through everybody. I lost in the finals of nationals, 3-1. And why I lost was the same fucking issue too. I couldn't believe that. I was like, technique was this good, you know? Like training could pay off like this. I had this fear, I had to be big, you know? But wow, it's like, it seems like right now, it's like, people are like, hey man, how much you press, man? How much you do that? Like, I don't know, you know? Well, how much you squat, man? I don't know, how big is your dick, dude? What the fuck's your problem? You know, it's like, you know, who gives a crap? Who wins that war? You're lifting for an ego there, meaning then the gym is the end. You know, I live to train, I live to sculpt the body for a cover. And by the way, if I'm shooting Ironman or Muscle and Fitness or Men's Health, by the way, one of them I gotta be lighter for. Men's Health is more lean, they don't want you all ripped up. Other ones, they want you totally ripped up. So you're totally ripped up on this one cover, but Men's Health doesn't want you on the cover unless you're lean. So then you soften, you train your modules different to create your body. Again, your body's a vehicle like this. Most people won't do that. They go, I don't want to look soft, man. The hell with that. So they won't shoot that cover. Or say, hey man, well I'm a little bit off on my water retention pills and I'm on my off cycle with steroids. So hey, can we push this shoot for like 3 months, man? Because I'm on my off season. I don't have an off season. I call that unemployment. It doesn't work for me. I've stolen more covers than anybody else. Stolen meaning people coming in out of shape. The photographer calls me up, says, hey man, I hate to say this man, but what are you doing right now? I'm like, I'm available. I said, can you come to the studio like an hour and shoot a cover? Fuck yeah, you're in shape? I go, yeah, I am. Why? Because I don't talk it, I live it. It's my game, it's my life. Being in shape is a more fulfilled life. I'm not in there for just, try to trick you people. I'm in the gym to get rid of the demons in my head, all the voices, It's therapy for me. It just so happens someone wants to put me on a cover, cool. But that same thing with wrestling, I lifted all that stuff to hide the fear. That fear, once I faced it, I learned so much about it, and it soared that season. So anyway, I think we're running out of time, but you guys get what I'm getting with that? That's how lifting started for me. It was a field of void, a lack of confidence in myself. That's all it was. So, and the thing is, it's what's so cool about it? It's like I never told anyone that story when I was wrestling. And I wish I would have, because by saying it to you guys, or saying it to anybody else in the years before, there's a freedom right there. It's like you let the cat out of the bag, there's fear released. Like if you guys are holding on to any kind of fears or demons or something you're scared of, I really encourage you to go up to somebody you trust and kind of convey them and tell them that stuff, and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, what do you think, Again, champions come in pairs of two. You're stronger with somebody than you are by yourself. It can get that dark where you jump out of a plane and you don't even pull your ripcord. It can get that bad. You can keep on trying to fight it the way you think it's going to go. Or you can just realize you can't create the waves of life. All you got to do is learn how to surf them. And they can be epic rides. But, anyway. All right, we got a quick break, I guess.
10-minute break, so we'll come back at 10 past 12. Yep.
All right, guys, thanks.